So I am Jen the Grand Guru, and I want you guys to know that my work in the nonprofit industry over the last 30 years do not begin to compare with what we are about to embark upon on Thursday, August the 11th. I can tell you with great assurity and with great confidence that the things that you all are about to learn and to take in on Thursday is going to blow your mind. As I have shared,
Okay, well, let me pick up where Jen left off. It's going to be stellar. It is going to take you to a whole new level with your nonprofit organization, the planning around it, the sustainability model that you're going to create, the depth of conversation that you're going to be able to have in relation to displaying and portraying what it is that you're all about. You're going to be able to talk to people on, just on the fly. When they ask you, well, what is your organization about? You're going to know it so deeply that you're going to be able to just, start just spouting off to a point where they are inspired and they're like, wow, that is amazing. Because you're going to understand it from a place of impact. And because of that, when you speak to them, what you are talking about is going to be hitting their core explanation that moves people to action for them to say, what can we do? What else can we do here? Let me see. Okay, I'm looking at it. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, so you want to be at that place. I see Jen's trying to come back in. All right, so now, as we're waiting for Jen to pop back, okay, she's, all right, I see that she popped out, she's trying to pop back in. Yeah, so this whole thing, for those of you who have gotten the pre-work, you're already seeing now that we were not joking around, that there is no fat in here whatsoever. It is straight, no chaser, and diving into your understanding of what your organization is all about. Okay, Jen, you can take it from there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Go ahead and finish your sentence. Go ahead.
That was it. I was just talking until you got back on. I was telling them about, this 29 points that they're going over and being able to speak about their organization from a very deep and core place. Yeah. By the way, you all, my name is Jason Hodge. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a media planner. And so Jen and I are working together on this whole masterclass to bring you a whole new level of conversation for your nonprofit organization. Okay, Jen, good. There you go.
I'm really excited that Jason agreed to at the time, I thought was a pretty harebrained idea. One of the things that I have learned in my 30 years of doing the work of nonprofits and being trained by and training with countless organizations, countless agencies, countless professional fundraising companies. And what I said to Jason was, what I know from the day-to-day work of nonprofits is that the information of what to do need not be stressed as much as the how to. Many of you all are facing struggles with understanding the how to. How do I raise money? How do I successfully write a grant proposal? How do I get my donors and my collaborators and my partnerships to say yes? How do I activate my board to be not just bodies in a room, but participants in the planning process of moving our organization forward? Mm-hmm. And I said, it's not so much hinged upon the what to do. It is on the how to step. It is the thoughtful, strategic steps that is missing in most nonprofit organizations. And so Jason and I, with great intentionality and with great, I think, forward thinking from his area of experience in media production, leveraging, communicating impact on various platforms of media, social media, and using his geekiness for good, using his love of communicating with clarity and impact, with my knowledge of how the nonprofit world runs on the day-to-day, that we would present to you all a class that, bar none, is not going to be taught or missed.
Absolutely.
In this arena. I guarantee you that. So I am just grateful that Jason said yes. I don't know if he knew at the time what he was saying yes to, but I'm grateful to be in this powerful collaboration with him and partnership. And it is growing beyond what we, I think, initially had a conversation. Every day it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the after conversations, the conversations that we have after the conversations that we have been blowing our minds. So guys,
Yes.
I just want to let you know that we are on target to turn the page for you. This is for you. We already know the information. This is for you. This is for those of you who say, then I need to know how to do this right. We can't have a call and a purpose and we not know how to function in that cause and purpose. And unfortunately, a lot of nonprofit organizations who have great calls and great purpose now just needs to know, how do I implement what we do in an effective way to garner the resources, the support that we need. Okay. So that's what this class is going to be about on Thursday. So we just wanted to come in, give you some insight, answer any questions that you might have, and drop in the link and say, listen, you guys got 2 days to get the pre-work done. And the pre-work is worth the admission right there. The pre-work is worth the admission.
Yes.
One of the things that, as I'm doing my private coaching and mentoring, a lot of the organizations that I work with are struggling with communicating internally with their board, with their key volunteers. What is it that you all need to do on a day-to-day basis, and then within the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, year, to make sure that your organization has the funding, the community support, and presence that it needs.
Absolutely.
And I can tell you that the pieces that Jason and I are going to be presenting around media, around communication, around your vision. What is your vision? And being able to clearly articulate that for yourself. And then if you cannot articulate that clearly for yourself, then you got to know that it's not being clearly articulated in the public platform either. If you can't do it internally, then it's not translating externally. And that is where your funds, your support, your partnerships, your collaborations, they are the one that's looking at how you deliver your message. If it's not clear, if it's not succinct, if it's not driven by impact. So that is why, guys, we are going to show you the how-to of this piece. And I'm super excited, Jason. I mean, in your years of working with nonprofit organizations, how can you see the difference that this is going to make in the landscape of nonprofit organizations?
Well, first off, it introduces a portion of the conversation that nonprofits have not effectively had up to now. Okay, we're going to change that. You know, and the sad part is this. Now, you and I both know that the nonprofit field, they have basically flatlined at a 2% marketing spend over the last 30, 40 years. They're not growing in their marketing like for-profits are growing. And the challenge with that is that there's only one fact that really separates them from a for-profit, and that separates the 501c3 from the for-profit. But yet they're expecting to grow their business of the nonprofit without doing best business practices. So what we're going to be diving into is not only the conversation, but the practice around how are they marketing? How are they getting their message out to market? How are they isolating their marketplace? How are they going about doing their research so they know how to get in front of the right who? Okay. And I'm going to say that again, how to get in front of the right who. It's not just enough for you to know who the right who is. You also have to know how to get in front of them. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to show you what that's all about. We're going to also, for all of you who have been following Jen and watching the whole live process of me for the past, 5 weeks, Jen?
5 weeks,
yeah, with the YMCA. So you all have been seeing live. This is how all of this works. You've seen the unscripted. This is the real life thing. How when you create a partnership with a major organization like the YMCA, what that entails, what their expectations are, and what they have to give account for. And then how you have to make sure that your program is flexible enough in order to move with the twists and turns that you're going to get on a day-to-day basis. You see, you may have something that is solid written down on a piece of paper, okay? And it's very surgical. But if you don't have your program code, if you don't have it down, when a wrench is thrown into the midst of it, which you guys saw many wrenches in the midst of my program, I would not have been able to pivot in order to speak to those turns, speak to the wrenches, speak to the adjustments that had to be made last minute. So when you go through that 29-point pre-work assignment.
Did you say 29 points?
29
Did you say
points, yeah. 29-point pre-work assignment. Yes. When you go through that, it is going to show you, okay, I need to shore up my information here. I'm really tight here. Ooh, this information right here is good, but I see now I'm going to need extra support. It's going to start to ferret out the areas where you're going to need to build better infrastructure, going to need to have a plan in place for how you're going to get out in front of your people. You know, I mean, it's going to show you a lot of things that we couldn't begin to explain to you without just showing you. It's like, here, do the pre-work, and then you will see what we're talking about.
Yes.
It is that deep. It is that deep. I'm going to mute real quick and just tell the kids to.
Okay. Guys, listen, one of the things that I know as a nonprofit professional, and again, I am coming from a place of I've done the day-to-day work. So you guys have got to know that I built and designed and invested energy in working with Jason to make sure that we are talking about real life. We're not speaking from a place of theory that you can get in a book. We are speaking from and training from a place of this is real life in the day-to-day nonprofit. We are dealing with the real deal, no fluff struggles of the day-to-day in the nonprofit. The struggle of getting the funds, the struggle of identifying key volunteers, the struggle of getting in front of the right audiences, the struggle of delivering a program and proving that there is impact, the struggle of changing on the dime and pivoting when things don't go right, the struggle of people leaving and transitioning and still needing to go forward. I mean, all of these things, guys, I am very aware of. So when we designed this training class, I need you to hear us that we were speaking from, we had you in mind. We absolutely had you who were in the trenches day to day. Hey, wake up. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, bro.
We're not talking about theory. You can read a book who will only give you portions of the insight. No, we are talking about this is what we know as experts in these fields, how to move your organization beyond where it is to the next level. And this is not something that you're going to get in a book.
Exactly.
This is not what you're going to get in a book. And you are going to get the real examples, right? A book is not going to give you real examples. And it's not going to be able to use your example to bring about the answer.
Yes.
So when Jason and I talk about, you know, the plan, the process, we are thinking I know that and Jason can speak to this, have worked with organizations who have unfortunately not understood what it took to be forward thinking. Right. It's always been, I need to get to the end of the month. If I can get to the end of this week, I actually don't even know what we're going to do by the end of the day, let alone what are the goals that we need to set and what are the action steps that we need to take to reach a goal in 6 months? What about our annual plan? What about our target? What about reaching our media goal? What about reaching a partnership goal? What about reaching not only a financial goal in the area of grants, but a diverse funding stream? And realizing that many of you all have nonprofit organizations where you are working alone in the day-to-day. Your board members have jobs. Your board members are off doing whatever they do. Right. But they show up and expect or should expect that you are going to be able to show them how to move your organizations forward. And so these items that Jason has put down, what was it, 50 items? I feel like 50 items. I mean, it's only 7 pages.
Yeah. It's
this
just
kept going
29,
on.
folks. Just 29.
Listen, I kept reading and I thought, oh my gosh, yeah, this is real deal. This is for real master stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That by the time you get that information out of your head, guys, I want you to think big picture. I want you to think that once you are able to address these 29 items, how you are going to be able to then engage your board.
Yes.
How you're going to be able to engage your volunteers. How you're going to be able to engage others who are going to be working with you. That no matter who transitions in and out, no matter who calls in sick, that you will then be able to take these tools in the conversation of these 29 points and share them with anyone. Y'all got to know that sustainability now.
Total sustainability.
You have got to understand what is sustainability. Is the vision of communicating impact in an effective way that's going to leverage partnerships, relationships, and money. That's what sustainability is. And so, Jason, listen, the man is brilliant. When I tell you the man is brilliant, I pale in comparison to his brilliance.
Don't believe her, folks. Don't believe her.
I am so in awe and excited for you. I'm excited for me, and I'm a partner. I'm in it, and I'm excited. Y'all can't even begin to know how excited I am for you, particularly for those of you all who are being coached and mentored by me. Y'all's life is about to get got.
Oh, yeah,
it's about to get got right here. It's about to be changed. It's about to be changed. And for those of you all who are thinking, what? It can't be all that. It can't be all that. Y'all are looking too short-sighted. I'm telling you, there is nothing like this on the landscape. So, Jason, will you please share for those of us who are in the room who may not have been watching you for 5 weeks, but how you, with your idea, because many of you guys have an idea. You guys have an idea and you're not quite sure what to do with this idea. If you can share with us the journey of taking your idea and doing a simple communication presentation in a clear way and what transpired from that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It was it was more than 5 weeks ago that I had the initial conversation. It was, I think, back in March, April, where we had that preliminary discussion. And it actually happened from one connection that I had in the city who wanted me to connect them to a connection that I had in the YMCA. So I made the connection or the introduction between them. And then I was just prompted to ask, hey, what are you all doing around media and mentorship with your youth? So the response was nothing. What do you have in mind? And I said, well, I happen to have a program that I designed over 18 years ago. And this program, this is what it takes in. It's a 5-phase program. It does this, 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 this. So I gave them the breakdown. And, the process, once it starts, it perpetuates itself because they become the next peer mentors. So they mentor the next group through. So it showed sustainability, it showed forward thinking, and it also showed delivering them a skill set that they can monetize. And by monetize, I mean make money out of. Now, the kids that I'm dealing with, they are quote unquote at-risk youth. And so I shake a little salt on that because I really truly believe that any youth that is not being given the time and the attention, regardless of what their socioeconomic background is at risk. That's just really the simple fact of the matter. And by putting a camera in their hands and giving them the opportunity to tell their story and to engage in thinking of a product that they wanted to create to turn into cash flow, they got excited about that. So anyway, after I explained that, the next thing was, wow, that sounds incredible. Hey, can we meet on this? I said, why don't we meet tomorrow morning? So we met the next day at Starbucks at 11 o'clock and sat down, and I was able to really flesh out the program and say, okay, this is what it actually entails. And this is how it engages with the community. This is how it makes money. This is how the kids get mentored. This is how they develop the interpersonal skills. This is how. So I was speaking impact, nothing but impact. And and this is what I was talking to Farron. Her eyes got wider and wider. It's like, wow, this is amazing. And so instead of starting in fall, she was like, well, you know, can you do this in summertime? And I was like, yeah, I could do it in the summertime. Now, I didn't actually know what I was getting into because it was just a plan on paper. But I had been thinking about this plan ever since I had written it. Ever since I wrote the program, 18 years of just like, wow, it'll be great to really launch this program. I just didn't. Yes. 18 years. 18 years it had been sitting on the shelf. And then it was just like, you know what? If I don't do it, and I've got a story behind why I moved to do it this go round. And it has to do with my near-death experience. And I'm like, you know what? I was almost gone, right? So instead of having something on the shelf that I didn't implement, let me take it off of the shelf and at least put it out there to see what's going to happen with it. After that whole process, we started, and, you know, this was 5 weeks ago is when we started the actual implementation of the program. The program filled up immediately. And then we started working. I started working with the kids, me and my production manager, who happens to be my sister. Phenomenal woman there. Phenomenal. Okay. And she keeps me on point. Okay. Because I can get up there in the clouds. Yes. Yeah. You know, Jen, you were saying it. So here it is. You know, I'm working with them. And then so the kids, they're just sparking and just really getting it. That all happened from a conversation passing on something that I was very clear on. Now, what happened from the 5 weeks moving forward was you guys were seeing collaborations happening right in front of your eyes. You all were seeing new partnerships being formed right in front of your eyes. You all were seeing, you know, an excitement and getting put on the radar of the YMCA heads who didn't know anything about live streaming to begin with, didn't know anything about me, and up until that point, really didn't know a whole lot about the program that I was inserted into. I mean, they knew about it, but they had not really been down there and, you know, taken as much attention, at least from what it is that I remember in just seeing some of the engagement and all of that. But they knew enough about it to know the heart and the essence of it. So that, you know, it just one thing led to another. And now, instead of it being a 5-week pilot, now they have asked us to come back for a whole year to run the program. Along with that, they've asked for another program. And so we're still in talks on that to see if that is going to actually be feasible. But 2 programs because of one pilot that went uber successful. I hope I answered that question, Jen.
So in terms of, you know, now having put this class together, what do you think other nonprofit organizations can or will learn from what you learned, right? Like you were doing it, now we've put this class together. What is it that you thought, that was an aha moment for me, or I hadn't quite thought of it that way? And then as we started putting the class together, obviously things have grown, but I just kind of wanting you to share your insight.
Yeah, you know, I think for me, the whole process of breaking it down, all of those things that were happening organically, taking it and then distilling it into a template of statements and questions, the aha was that there's a lot that goes into it, but it's really compressed in a matter of a few simple movements. But each one of them, like if you go through those 29 points, right, those 29 statements, and you internalize those things, you're able to say all of those 29 statements. We actually have a very cool exercise that we're going to do in the midst of the masterclass around those 29 statements. It's going to blow your mind, okay? But it's going to help you to take it down to the, you know, most finite portion of it and expand it out infinitum. You know, it's going to be really trippy how this works for you. But nonetheless, because of all of those things being internalized over the years, I was able to speak to everything that they asked me, you know, to the point where it was almost nervous, like, well, wait a minute. Okay, I've been answering every question so far. What if they ask me something that I don't have an answer to? But it never happened. It never happened. It was just that I know my program so well and the intention of the program. I know the impact that it's designed to make. So anytime that they ask me, I can speak passionately about it and it's backed up by a plan. So it's not just that I'm passionate about this thing. It's like, oh, I got all this passion. I really want to do this for the kids. No, I have a passion for it, and that's obvious. But there is a dynamic, there is a mechanic to it. There is a reason and a plan. There's a blueprint that this thing is fleshed out on. And so that matched with the passion is what turns the yeses.
Yes. I think that one of the things that you said that was so clear is that no matter what came up, you had a response for it.
Exactly.
And based upon what we have been able to put in the pre-work, our goal is that you guys will be able, the participants in the class will be able to have those types of seamless responses. And when you all are so focused on the goal, when you're so focused on the goal, you know the goal, it's clear, then it's easier to spin around on the solution.
Yes.
Many times we can't get to the solution to our problems because we're not clear about the goal.
Exactly.
We're not clear about how are we going, first of all, the vision, right? Not just the vision of where are we and where do we want to be, but the vision of how am I going to get there? Who's going to be involved in that process? Yeah. What are their roles? How can I involve them? That when you are at a place where you are saying, listen, in the midst of things not going according to plan,
right,
I got another plan.
Exactly.
Because I am clear about what are the dynamics of my program. I'm clear about my capacity. I'm clear about the people that I'm working with and how and what they bring to the table. Unfortunately, a lot of organizations are not able to move forward beyond those barriers because there is so little clarity.
Exactly.
There is so little clarity around purpose, listen, and you guys hear me say this every day. Passion is not a plan.
That's right.
Passion is not a plan. If you cannot put goals and objectives around this passion to turn it into a plan, it needs to stay a passion. It just needs to stay a passion. Because the moment you are clear about your plan,
yes,
now you are able to bring others into buying into your passion. Speaking from your passion about their passion,
yes,
and about moving the relevance of your passion into a stream of the community and the people that you serve. And unfortunately, if you, Jason, had not been so focused on your plan and been so clear in your ability to articulate what it was that you were trying to do, being able to pivot. You guys, when we were following Jason, you all saw some of the complications.
Yes.
Not having email access.
Yes.
Equipment crashing and not working properly.
Yes.
Changing, from the size of the Y and all of the challenges that you as leaders, we as leaders have got to be able to work through. The day-to-day remains the day-to-day. But being able to leverage your activity, your daily activity, into opportunities to fundraise, to communicate, to leverage partnerships and collaborations, and raise money. Guys, those things don't happen by chance.
That's right.
Those things happen in the systems of a plan, in the systems of a real plan. And so, Jason, listen, you had a lot of opportunity to think about your program. You then had an opportunity to implement your program. Did you expect that by week, what, 2 or 3, you were going into the 3rd week and already you were invited to expand the program into week, before you went into week 3, they were already saying, Jason, we need this program to go longer. Tell us about what that felt like.
Okay, it felt great. I expected it, but my expectation was based on, okay, I'm going to come in expecting it, because why start something that you're not going to expect the best from? But there's something that happens between your expectation and the reality of when it actually happens.
Yes.
It takes it out of the theoretical aspect of your mind and moves it into, wow, this just happened, you know, and it validates the what's a good word for it? I'm losing the words. I would have said the validation, but it validates the program. It validates what it is that I set out to do. And that was gratifying. You know, I went in, and here's the funny thing is that I went into the Y every single day with a huge smile on my face and in my heart. Okay. I couldn't wait to get there, to get into the program, to deal with the kids. Now, the kids were kids. Okay. I mean, it wasn't like they were like, you know, the best little angels, you know, but they were great kids. But, you know, but they were kids, teens who don't do teen things, you know, and sometimes they had teen attitudes. And so I had to now navigate that in order to now move them forward, because the concept was always, okay, so how do we move the needle forward? How do I remain relevant in their minds with this program? So it was a very interesting dynamic there. And so it taught me a lot. Every day I learned something. I learned that, you know, yeah, even though you have something mapped out on paper, you've got to put the real world into it. And you won't know the real world until you actually put it in the real world. And there is a myriad of things that you will never know until you put it out there. And so you've got to put it out there. And that's a part of the proofing process. And you want to proof your things in a safe environment. So I proofed my thing under the umbrella of an organization that was already in existence, that had infrastructure in place, that had a team and people who really loved what they do and loved who they do it for. So it was a great combination to say, okay, let me launch this thing here and see how everything settles. So I would say the aha moment for me was that there's absolutely no way that I could have done that without a team that was already in place, or, you know, an infrastructure that is already set. Even if I were to come in there and bankroll the whole thing and say, okay, let me just pay for everything. You can't pay for a relationship. Mm-hmm. So I went into a program that's been, now they're going into their 5th year. So they had 5 years of a running track record, or 4 years, you know, of a running track record with these kids. Some of these kids have been in the program 2 or 3 years already. This was the last year before they cycle out. So there was rapport there. There was community there. And then based on their introduction of my program, I was able to borrow their credibility with their clientele, which is the kids. Right. So that's very important. You know, I didn't go in there cold, and that's key. Especially if you don't know what your program's going to do.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that one of the things that we also learned in watching you is knowing your program and keeping the end in focus. Mm-hmm. In your mind about what was clearly the impact that you wanted the kids to reach. Teaching them the cues, right? They knew that when you gave them the cues, mm-hmm. they knew how to respond to those cues. Yes. I believe that within the nonprofit system, mm-hmm. the system, internally, there has to be cues. There has to be cues around when funding gets to be at this level, this is what we have to do. Exactly. Everybody has got to pivot around this. When it comes to strategic planning and evaluating our program goals and objectives, mm-hmm. then this is how we have to respond. Yes. But if we are not familiar with those cues, we will miss those cues, right?
That's true.
And you kept you could see the kids when you would say, okay, now this is how we respond. Mm-hmm. And they immediately picked up on, oh yeah, this is how we respond. Mm-hmm. So guys, I point that out because as nonprofit organizations who we are determined to work with those who want to grow on sustainability, mm-hmm. that in the work that we've done, that we've put together, mm-hmm. you guys are going to have some cues.
Yes.
You guys are going to be able to recognize, all right, if our marketing information, if our reach is not being met, then we know that there's an area that we are either not communicating clearly or using the right means. Mm-hmm. If in fact there are opportunities where our finances are not at the place that we have earmarked them to be, on target and intentional, these are the cues for us to self-assess and make those changes and alterations.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, again, the program that Jason showed us did not happen just haphazard. We wake up one day and decide we don't know what we're going to do today.
That's right.
There is no preparation. There's no planning. There are no clear thought out activities.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, many of you all are operating without any clear-cut activity.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if what you're doing is working or not. And if you are starting your nonprofit organization, I have to talk to too many people who say to me, I started and I did not know what to do next.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know how to start. I'm
Right.
saying you don't understand the cues. You've got to get that part of the process down.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it happens by design. Otherwise, you have a flawed design. And you won't know that it's a flawed design.
Mm-hmm.
And you will continue down a road that's not leading you anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you're frustrated with the road.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the road's fault.
That's right. That's right.
It's the person on the road.
That's right.
It's the person on the road's fault. And so we want to make sure that we put you on the right road for your nonprofit organization.
Mm-hmm.
So Jason, talk to us about once the program was over,
Mm-hmm.
and you all were able to celebrate with, the completed work, the kids responding.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us how that felt to have accomplished.
Wow. Okay, that felt amazing because, and I'd have to say now, I don't know if all of the kids are going to return. I know that there is a solid 6 or 7 that are definitely going to return. 2 said that they are moving and they don't know where they're moving to. So that's going to determine if they're able to return. So then that would move it up to a possible 9 returning. And then some others weren't there on the last day. So we'll see what those, how those fare. But we've got a great response from the kids throughout the whole process, throughout the whole program. And from the beginning set of interviews with the kids to what you guys saw over a very short period of time, what you saw was the impact of them getting very comfortable with themselves, with their messaging, with their presentation. And that to me was key because we wanted them to be able to stand up in life and say, hey, you know what, I have something to say and I can articulate well. And the best way to do that is to get them to articulate. So every day they were in front of a camera, every day of the class, that is, they were in front of the camera. They got to live scoping with you all. Some of you all got to see them live scoping and you saw the growth from day one when they started to when they finished. And the comfort level, you saw it was exponentially different. It was like looking at 2 entirely different people. So that, in answer to your question, that felt incredible because I would not have believed that transformation could happen that rapidly in such a short period of time. I was only with them an hour and a half for 2 days out of the week. And then the last day of the week, we were on a field trip. And then I would have to, catch them here and there as they were having fun on the field trip. So it was, a lot of variables that I did not expect. First of all, I thought that we were going to have them for 3 days. And then the 4th day was a field trip. Turns out I had them for 2 days. And the 3rd day was a field trip. I was like, okay, wait a minute. How are we going to deal with that? And then at hour and a half at a time. Then I thought, okay, well, we'll come in. We'll have the whole production meal and all of that, get all those things together so they can feel what it's like to be on set. And then I found out, hey, we can't do that because there are certain health codes and things like that has to go through the program. And so no outside food could be brought in. It had to be the admin to bring the food in and they had to get it from specific places and all that. So there were some other things that I didn't know. So there's a lot of things that I ran up against that I had to say, okay, well, I'm glad that I didn't let them know that, hey, we're going to have this thing catered and blah, blah, blah. I didn't let the kids know that. And I found out about it, I knew to ask that question. So there's a lot of things that came up that I was like, okay, I don't have my exact wish list, but what I am able to do with the materials that I have is pretty phenomenal.
What about, your partners and who you were working with? I know you were working with Katie. and that level of communication, because a lot of nonprofits, are very streamlined in who they work alongside. There may be only one or two people that, just in the case that you demonstrated with us, but we could see how you and Katie were so in sync.
Totally.
So in sync. And one of the things that we want to stress coming out of this class is that how it is essential that you and the people that you work with within your organization are in
Gotta
sync.
have your dream team.
You got to have the communication. You got to have the clarity of vision. You got to have the goal and objective agreed upon, and everyone knowing their role and their responsibility, right? And a lot of nonprofit leaders, unfortunately, because they're not so clearly focused, are not able to communicate to those that they need to help them move forward. So tell us about the meetings and the negotiating and the assignments, allotments that you and Katie had to go through, because when we go through the class on Thursday, guys, we are going to share with you how you're going to need to do this as well. Right. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. With the collaboration that me and Katie had, now we've worked production for many years together. We've been on many sets. We've been atmosphere at times, and we've been hands-on at times, And for those who don't know what atmosphere is, that's extra work, We've been on many movie sets, many television sets, many commercial sets. And, so we would watch all the things that, go on there. And we've been on set behind the camera as well. So each one of us has our own level of training in those spaces. And, and it's funny, I learned that Katie was a phenomenal editor and phenomenal production hand, a few years back. And I was like, wow, you really have it going on. You really know what you're doing. And because of the level of communication that we've had over the years, it's almost like psychic. You know what I mean? It's like, there are things that I'm thinking like, man, I wish that I had this. And she'd be right there. Okay, you're going to need this right now. I'm like, yeah, that's my teammate right there.
I don't know if we lost him. I think we did. He froze. I think he froze. So listen, one of the things that I wanted to pick up for him until he comes back is how essential it is, guys, for you all to know the buy-in from the people that you are serving alongside. One of the things that we have found in putting together these classes for Thursday is what's essential is the vision. What's essential is that everyone is on point and have totally bought in, from your leadership, from the board, from your key volunteers, or those people that you are turning to for information or for support. However, it all is hinged upon what is the vision. Passion is not a plan, right? Activities are not impact, but how do we put your passion in the form of a plan? And how do we then leverage the right activity, the right communications, the right asks? We want you to know that every activity, not only that you do for your program, but that you do internally, every decision that you make from a board, from a program staff, from financial spending or raising money, that you all are able to know that you are measuring those decisions up against your plan, your long-term, short-term plan. All right. So we are just super excited that on Thursday, again, we are going to turn the page. We are going to turn the page in the landscape of nonprofits. Now, this is, Jason and I decided to do this blab yesterday. We did one this morning and then tonight, and we're going to do a few more. Again, this is not the same blab that we did earlier. This one is a lot different, but we want you to know that, we're here to answer your questions, and not only to invite you to participate, because we're not begging people to participate. Either you know that you need the help or not. We are here to say that what you need, we know that we've provided for you in this class. Again, Jason with his 20 years of media experience and mine with my 30 years of nonprofit, doing the work of the nonprofit, that with intentionality, we have said we want to make sure that the tools, the information, the templates that we share are going to be able to help you all not only think about your plan, but implement your plan. And if it's not implemented, it's because you just did not do the work. Not that we did not show you not only what to do, but the how to of the work. Are there any questions? Are there any questions at all? Thank you so much, Zakia. Thank you so much. Listen, Jason and I have been on the phone. You guys cannot even begin to imagine the hours that we have put thought into every activity, every template, every question, everything to make sure that you know that we kept you in mind. We did not design this class from a place of this is what we want to share. We really went deep into what is it that they not only need to know, but how are they going to be able to take this knowledge, leverage this knowledge, implement this knowledge, and then create and have great impact based upon them using this knowledge. So we're just super excited about Thursday. We're super excited for those of you who've already signed up. I owe a few pre-work assignments after I get off this blab, and we will be back. We'll be doing another one tomorrow. Leave it up to Jason. We might do another one tonight, but we just wanted to come on and say, how can we answer any questions? We want to give you some insights as to what was going on behind the scenes as we were planning this. Are there any questions? I've tried to address most of the questions as I saw them popping up in the chat. But if there's anything else that you guys have on your heart, on your mind that I can answer for you, please, please, please feel free to drop it in the questions. I'm sure Jason's battery died. Poor guy. He and I have been on the phone for like 6 hours today, continuing with the planning for after the master class. We've got some great things coming up even after the class. But I just wanted to ask if there were any questions that you guys had for us tonight that I can answer for you. Anything at all that's on your heart, that's on your mind, that you have questions about. And if not, I just want to say thank you. You ate everyone's juice. You are so funny. I'm so glad that you were able to join us. Thank you guys for taking, the time out of your evening in such an impromptu way. But we just really wanted to just jump on and say, we're here, we're planning, we're excited. We have you in mind, and we're just excited. We can't wait for Thursday. We absolutely cannot wait for Thursday. And if you've not signed up, please do so. If you don't have the intention of signing up, but you think that this class can help someone else, please share it with them. This is really going to change the landscape, guys, of the nonprofit industry. It's really going to change the landscape intentionally. Intentionally, it's going to do that. Thank you so much. Any questions, anything at all before we end this blab for tonight? Anything? Well, seeing no questions, guys, again, I want to say thank you. Miyoshi, I'm going to be sending over to you. You like that, Harrison? You're so sweet. I'm going to be sending over to you the pre-work so that you can get started. And guys, again, Jason and I are busy. You guys are going to be seeing us on Periscope, following us on in my group. You're welcome. You're welcome. Following in the group, Jen's nonprofit fundraising nuggets. We'll be seeing you guys on Periscope. Again, thank you guys so much for your time tonight. Hopefully this was insightful. Hopefully you guys got some glimpse of what we're going to be sharing in the 4 hours. It probably will be a little more. So you guys hydrate. Lots of protein. Make sure that you eat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Patrick. I appreciate you. that you guys are in the right position for the attention that you're going to need for this class. For those of you guys who have the pre-work, we want it back by Thursday afternoon because we want to be able to go through it to make sure that you guys are clear about where we're going next, and we want to make sure that we're covering all of your questions or the areas. We want to make sure that, again, this class has been designed for you. It's been designed for you. So with that said, guys, thank you again so much for coming in. Please watch out for more announcements of Blab. Jason and I will be back probably tomorrow at some point. And feel free to reach out to me anytime. You guys have my email address. You guys have my Zoom meeting spot. Send me a direct message. We're here to answer your questions, but we are here to help you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the conversations. Thank you for the conversations. All right, guys. We will see you all a little bit later on Periscope or tomorrow. But until then, you guys have an amazing night. And again, thank you for coming in and letting us share our hearts with you, okay? Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Be safe wherever you are, and we'll be talking soon, okay? I'm going to stop the recording because I'm sure Jason's going to do something with this. Thank you, thank you, thank you.